We are honored to be joined by a guest with 3,154 more strikeouts than the two of us combined. Pedro Martinez, Hall of Famer. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, guys. It's an honor.
Of course. It's an honor to have you. I'm sure people throw stats out for you all the time. Do you ever go back and look at your own stats?
You know what? I don't really look at my stats, but
Okay.
it shocks me to see how much stuff is brought up, especially nowadays with social media. Uh, every once in a while, I'm just checking my phone or whatever, going through Facebook and Instagram, and there's stuff. Someone has numbers and comparisons to other seasons and stuff like that. And it really shocks me to know that I did all that because I never really stopped to look at how my career was going or what I was about to do. I was just
Yeah.
about doing it right, but I wasn't really aware how time would later tell me about
Yeah.
the things that I did.
Because when you're in it, you're just trying to win baseball games and get hitters out. And then you wake up 18 years later and you have a 2.93 in 2,800 innings. Pretty impressive.
Well, I'm watching now up close some of the guys that are doing
Yeah.
stuff, incredible stuff like Tarik Skubal. I've seen Verlander, Scherzer do things. Kershaw, most recently. Uh, and I get really glued into the TV and the numbers and stuff like that. But then, little you know, I'm in one of those boxes with every one of them that have done something really
Yeah.
special, and I I just went all out when I wanted to do what I needed to do, but I never stopped to think that I would be in
Hmm.
some of those boxes, and surprising to me, I get to see it now that I have enough time to kind of go through it.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's really cool that you're really getting at something that we wanted to talk about with you, which is the current game, which of course you know been working with TBS, doing the pre and post game and talking about the best pitchers of today. And you kind of mentioned that experience of seeing what a Skubal or a Skenes or a Crochet is doing, and they might throw up and be like, first since Pedro Martinez, and you might have those moments like, wow, I must have been pretty good if this guy this guy's
me.
throwing pretty well, so I must have been throwing pretty well. Have you had any? I guess you mentioned it seems like you have had some moments like that.
Yeah, I watch those guys and I don't get enough of them, especially their presence on the mound. When I see Tarik
Mm-hmm.
Skubal, when I see Paul Skenes, when I see Crochet, Jacob deGrom. Like I love Jacob deGrom. His presence, his calm on the on the mound. Some guys just have that elite presence when they step on top of the mound, and I love to see that from the player. That sense of security.
Yeah.
Can you learn that over time? Or is that just something guys have? I think about Christopher Sanchez as an
Yes.
example, right? Where it was a very slow climb for him, where he didn't show up in the big leagues and was an ace, but now you watch him and he's in command, he's in control, he's confident, he's one of the best pitchers in the world. Is that something that you have, that dominant presence, that aggressiveness, or is that something that a player can learn over time?
I think you're born with the desire to be that guy, but you have to put a lot of time into it. And another guy that I'm going to give you that went from up on top, probably the best presence on the mound, to a guy that was shaky this year. And you guys are going to be shocked how much attention I paid to little things. Sandy Alcantara
Mm.
was reluctant to give the ball away, was probably the best pitcher for about 3 years where he would complete games. He was like out of place. The way the game is changing, Sandy Alcantara was out of place for a guy that was young, but had that mindset to go and finish what he started, which is something you weren't supposed to see at the time the game was changing uh, towards probably what it is now. A lot of relievers, 5 or 6 innings, zero complete games, and stuff like that. But you learn to actually get comfortable on top of the mound. You learn how to become dominant on the mound, and it gives you the confidence to say, I am this guy on top of the mound. I'm this bully on top of the mound. And Paul Skenes is a rare breed of men and inside of of a uniform. And so is Tarik Skubal, Crochet. Those guys seem to have it from the first moment they stepped on the mound to this point of their career, where they are possible Cy Youngs, Rookie of the Year, a lot of success. Now, I hope I don't see it soon, but when they fail, I want to see when things don't go right, when things uh, ache in your body, and you have to kind of get down and come back up. I would love to see how they
Yeah.
respond to that, but not now, not anytime soon. I would love to see them cracking up some records that I have and everyone that have passed through the game.
But and we kind of saw that from Crochet the last 2 weeks, where he was great last night for his 7 scoreless, but the start before that, he got crushed at home against Cleveland, let up 4 home runs, 7 earned. And I remember like watching his face after letting up the 4th home run, and he like couldn't believe it. Like it didn't compute in his mind. He was like, I gave up 4 home runs. And then to see him go out there last night and throw, 7 scoreless and strike out all those hitters, that's kind of what you're talking about, that bouncing back from failure.
Exactly, and if you don't have that in you, if you don't have the ability to be a short-minded kind of person and put that stuff behind, you're gonna struggle for a longer time. For special guys like those that we just mentioned, uh, I think they have the ability to put it behind, and it's not how many times you fall; it's how many times you stand up after failure. It was the same way for me. Uh, I had a short memory for that. It was like, okay, you got me today. I wish I could be pitching against you 5 days later, so I could go and get my revenge against you. That's competitiveness, and I think those guys all have it. And I would love to see them healthy and continue to do that. And I wish I could see more pitchers with the same attitude and the same confidence that they display on top of the mound. I love watching those guys, and actually, it's really interesting for me to be watching the race for the Cy Young. Uh, Watching Skubal go at it, he seems to have like the far front lead on the other guys, but Crochet, especially after seeing what I saw last night, and don't put away Chapman. What Chapman is doing deserves a lot of looks from all of us, people in baseball, people that have interest in baseball, and the fans. I think what Chapman is doing is unbelievable. And in any other season where you had mediocre starting pitcher,
Hmm.
Chapman would have been considered for the Cy Young, and that a lot of that probably has to see with the team. If the team was to put him in a place where he had a lot more saves and a lot more opportunities to save games, Chapman would have been in the Cy Young contention. Remember Clase? Clase was right there, down the wire with the Skubal, and I think Chapman probably had the same opportunity if the team was doing better or put him in place to save games.
So I'm glad you mentioned Chapman, and we just talked about Crochet a little bit. We did want to talk to you about this Red Sox season. Obviously, as part of your job, clearly you are watching the whole league. It is not like you are just tuned into the Red Sox. That said, we know you have the Red Sox, of course, a special place in your career, and as you still continue to have that relationship with the franchise. This has been quite the season for them. They are in playoff position, but it has been rather dramatic. There have been a lot of moves. There have been a lot of great performances, disappointing performances. We've been joking all season, man, we should have had the Netflix documentary this year, because oh my goodness, has there been a lot happening compared to last season. But what is your take on this Red Sox season? What again, they're in a good place. I think when you see them at their best, they look like a really good team. But there's a lot going on there, and with the Devers trade and everything, what has been your general big picture takeaway from this Red Sox season so far, and where they could go from here?
Big picture, everything looks great. Denver seemed to be settled
Yeah.
in San Francisco. The young kids that we brought up from the organization have done their job. They're making adjustment. Uh, I'm really quick to watch how they respond to adversity. Campbell is one example. Uh, how how they deal with adversity, and for Cora and the rest of the guys, was a learning lesson this year. How to handle baseball stuff within baseball, within the clubhouse. For the entire organization was a learning lesson. For Breslow is a learning lesson. For me is a learning lesson. For all of us that I've never seen something like that, it's a learning lesson. It also gives you uh, you know, the refreshing news to know that the talent is really all together. That all you need is kind of get comfortable, build that confidence while playing the game, and believe that you are that guy. Like we were talking about the pitchers,
Yeah.
but those young players that the Red Sox have right now in the big leagues are showing that they are improving every single game that they play. They are gaining the confidence that we talk about. They are starting to feel that they belong where they are. As you know, it took Duran a little while to kind of feel confident enough to say, I am a superstar. I am a star of the game. I can go out there and play the way I know, and I'm going to be successful. So, for the rest of the young players that are coming up and watching guys like Bregman, go out there and do
Yeah.
what they do and how they go about their business, I think is really important. Uh, Also, their catching. I think those two guys, Wong and Narvaez, have done an outstanding job at handling everything and adjusting. That a lot has to see with Jason being linked to those guys. I know Jason loves
Yeah.
those guys. He doesn't stop working. The Red Sox were a learning lesson this year, but a positive one. I would say that.
And you bring up Narvaez. I think he's such an interesting character for this Red Sox team to trust a rookie to run the show back there. And, nowadays, catchers are doing more than ever before, right? They have to handle so many more responsibilities. And to trust a rookie, who they got from the Yankees, by the way, to let that guy go, I think has just been so impressive. I wanted to ask you actually about Alex Bregman. So from the outside, we're not in clubhouses, right? Like we're not on the team. And so when we see someone who's like, this is a really good clubhouse guy, it's hard for us on the outside to know what that means and how that works. Alex Bregman this year seems to have has risen his game as a clubhouse person, right? Where he is one of the more important people in the game to make others around him better. I'm curious, is that something that you've seen, and how important is that type of player in a room?
That is the best part of Bregman's game is his ability to uh, mingle with everybody, get along with everybody, and display his experience.
Yeah.
Bregman is an outstanding person, first of all. I guarantee you that the stuff in Houston is one of the things that led to Bregman wanting to have a change of scenery because I've seen the human, and a lot of you don't stop to see the human inside the uniform, but I do. And I was one of those guys. He doesn't like distractions. He likes to play. This is a guy that will leave the skin in the field. But at the same time, it's like he's so approachable. He's so easy to deal with that you can actually treat him like he's just one more rookie in the pile. You can approach him that way, get close to him. He's serious enough for everybody to understand that if you're not playing the same way I'm playing, well, you're not gonna get my best face, and you probably see me snap. And
Yeah.
it's not by saying words, but he's gonna be angry at you not giving 100%. So everybody rubs off Bregman when they play the game, and you can see it in the rookies. It's 100% concentration. Bad stuff are going to happen. Uh, Mistakes are going to happen, but you have to be mentally in the game. And that's what Bregman brings to the field. Bregman brings a guy that's really approachable, is a superstar, is a champion. And I guarantee you, he did not want any distractions. And he learned to love Boston just like Boston is loving Bregman. And that's the one thing I always say. Why I love homegrown players, because they learn to identify themselves with the city of Boston. Boston is the most knowledgeable city in all of baseball, I would say. WEI, 24/7, talking sports. I mean, it's about the Red Sox, the Celtics, and the Patriots all the time. So the people are going to have to hear whether they want or not. Every time they turn WEI on, it's sports and it's about the players. So
Yeah.
Boston is always very demanding, but very passionate about their players and very supportive. So if you don't love Boston and you don't want to hear your name 24/7, then you shouldn't be in Boston because you're going to be mentioned in the good moments, just like in the bad moments. And that's the one tricky thing about Boston. But if you play the game right, you go all out for Boston, they will realize that you're going all out, even if the results are not there. They understand exactly how the players think. Social media doesn't make it any easier for the players because anything you post, they're reading. They love their players. They love to read. They love to know about their players. So you have to love Boston. And Bregman is one of those guys that have
Yeah.
expressed that he loves Boston more than he ever thought. And so do the young players coming from home. This is our team. This is what we were born to do with the team that we were born to do. So I love that. And the good thing is the young players are coming up to a guy that loves playing the game in the city he's playing,
Yeah.
and the city is embracing every one of them.
And I think it's really important, and you could probably talk to this too. Bregman is fluent in Spanish, and
Oh, yes, he is.
that helps, right, in being able to talk to everybody in the clubhouse.
Yeah, but everybody else is also fluent in English.
Yeah.
Like you ask Rafaela knows like 7 languages.
Yeah.
So
Bregman's got to go learn Papiamento.
yeah, that's and you never know because Breg is really smart and he takes pride on talking to everybody.
That's true.
Narvaez, all those guys, they can communicate with each other really well. Plus, they know each other now. Whether it was from the minor leagues or coming into spring training, that's the one thing Boston does well. They actually hold a program where they have some of the prospects go back to Dominican, mingle with the people, learn about the culture and all that before they actually start playing for the Red Sox.
So Pedro, we've obviously gone over a little bit of your view of the game today and the Red Sox today. We did want to take the opportunity to look back a little bit farther at your career. There are 2 things we really wanted to dig into. The first thing is pretty broad, which is just like you mentioned you're maybe not going back and looking at your stats, but were there specific matchups that stood out over the course of your career? Were there hitters that gave you more fits than you expected? Were there hitters that you did struggle with? Obviously, over the course of your career, you did better than the hitters did. That's very obvious. But were there some matchups that still stick in your memory as especially memorable? And then maybe we'll give you a few little minor trivia questions related to this.
You know what? I hated seeing Jeter in a tough at bat in the postseason. That is in the postseason because Jeter had the ability to just give you knuckles during the postseason. Matsui was another guy that during the postseason was just top. During the regular season, believe it or not, I did really well against the guy that I thought gave me knuckles. That would be Edgar Martinez. I did an outstanding job against Edgar. But
Wow.
man, it would take me 12 pitches, 9 pitches, 11 pitches. So I hated that because if I was going to complete the game, all of a sudden I need to come out in the 7th inning because Edgar was in the middle of the 3 or 4 at bats where I had to just battle my way around Edgar. With Junior, I didn't have problems. So Buhner, those guys, A-Rod, I didn't feel like I had that much work to do.
So Edgar, Edgar was 3 for 25 against you. And of those, ready for this? You had 33 plate appearances against him, 11 full counts.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, and not only that, the full count came after 5 or 6 fouls on
Yeah.
fastballs that I'm cranking myself up to get it 98, 97, 96 and above to get him out. And then you know what that does to you, right? You have to get off the mound and go, I need a little breath of air because you're holding everything you have to put Edgar away. Still can't. And then at the end, when he finally wear you out, you go and lay the fastball there and he might pop it up or whatever, or get a hit or something like that. I hated facing Edgar during the regular season because I never had the opportunity to see him in the postseason. But the other guys I'm talking about, and there are many guys that wore me out. Like, will hit 300 of me, like Kenny Lofton, pesky players like that will hit well against me. Luis Gonzalez, but I didn't feel bad about facing those guys because they were gonna get it done. Whether get the hits,
it was gonna go fast.
Yeah, it was gonna go fast, and I would have loved the clock when I was pitching. But
oh man,
yeah,
that's
a fact. But those guys gave me knuckles during the regular season, but it didn't matter. If you got them first, and I could get a ground ball with the next guy, okay, that's okay.
Oh, that's great. It is fun to look at, like Jeter. You look at the numbers. You got him in the regular season, but in the postseason, you're right. Like he was just a different player, man.
He was a different player because Jeter had the ability to just keep his composure, whether it was postseason or a regular season. You didn't know when Jeter was going bad, just like you didn't know when Jeter was going, 5-for-5. And that's the kind of player that you hate to see in a tough situation because you want them to get excited. I wanted you to get mad at me. I wanted you to go after me.
Play
I want you
game.
to give me that dirty look like I want to kill you, like Sheffield would do if you did something against them. Those guys that brought aggression towards you, I wanted you to be aggressive so that I could put my stuff in display and frustrate you.
Which is
and just like they wanted to do to me too.
So the guy who is probably the worst against you with over 20 at-bats is exactly that type of hitter. Pat Burrell, who is very aggressive, swung a lot, went 1 for 26 with 11 strikeouts against you. And I imagine, like you said, it's because he was probably more willing to play into the game that you wanted to play.
Oh yeah, I would love those guys that would come after me.
Yeah,
the little pesky ones that had little swings and wanted to put the ball and play the other way. Those are the ones that I hate, like the Kenny Loftons of the world, Jerry Hairston Jr., Luis Gonzalez. That you break their bats, and there's a blooper. Miguel Cairo, guys like that. I didn't like to face those, and I went after them because I wanted to get it done quickly. But they would take advantage of that first pitch strike or first 1-2 fastballs to go at you, and they'll get some hits off of it.
So the last one I wanted to ask you about is Barry Bonds, because you allowed 1 home run to Barry Bonds. That was the day I was born.
Yeah, I'm old.
The day I was born, September 5th, 1995.
So that means you could have been my son.
I could have been your son. Yes, sir.
You're good looking. You're very, very good looking. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I would have been a blessed father with such a good looking kid.
Thank you, brother. Brother from another mother. So 1 home run, right? You faced him 33 times. He's got more homers than everyone else. I've always wanted to ask you about that home run, if there's anything that you remember from facing Barry.
I do remember clear. Like I was flying under the radar, and I had this hitter. He saw me as a reliever, but he never seen me like a starter. And I think I had a couple of outings where I was just sneaking by without giving up anything to Barry. And the pitching coach in Montreal, Joe Kerrigan, was always really proud to explain how we got Barry Bonds out. And somehow, I kept doing the same thing: changeups, fastballs away, and he'll fall off. And I had pretty good fastball. So for Barry, I wasn't a big name pitcher like Ken Hill, Jeff Fassero, those guys that he had seen. So I was kind of flying under the radar. 97, 95, 97, good changeup. He'll fall off a couple. And then Barry was always unaware that I would just try to sneak those fastballs and
Yep.
boom. And he didn't expect a young player to challenge him that way. And I was doing that, but sneaky under the radar until he finally went to the video room and went, oh, I think this little shit is getting me on fastball sin. And if you watch, the other day I was watching and I saw the homer. That thing was like 97 in here, really close, and he just and hit the pole at the old stadium. And that
Yep.
that was like a hurricane coming in from right field to left field. And he whacked that ball so hard that the ball hit the pole and came back. And when he was going by second base, he goes, I told you I was gonna get you. I told you I was gonna get you, and I got your brother too. I was like, okay, do you get
he's
mad at,
bringing your brother into
Barry
it.
Bonds or you
Oh
laugh?
no!
It's like,
Oh.
I got you and I got your brother. And I was like, yeah, you did. And there's nothing I can do about it because I made a good pitch. But Barry Bonds was that unique guy that you just have to respect in all aspects of the game. Barry Bonds was the most complete player I ever faced. I'm not disrespecting everybody else, and I never faced Henry Aaron or Willie Mays. But in my era, the player
Yeah.
that I would say had everything that you wanted to see and more was Barry Bonds because Barry Bonds could elevate the game to another level.
Man.
On his own,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be taking the walks, could be running the bases, could be hitting homers, RBIs, scoring runs, aggressive defense, everything you ask from a player, Barry Bonds had. And he had a pretty brilliant career at that point when you were just born, boy,
Yeah.
just born.
I was gonna say that homer happens in 1995. He had a few more homers after that, so that was just. I mean, that was the middle really of the Bonds
Yeah.
experience. Pedro, our last topic for you before we let you go is probably not something that you talk about too much on your when you're talking baseball on TBS, but it is something that we care deeply about and have become very invested in. And that is the Dominican Winter League. And your experience pitching for Licey early in your career, and I understand almost pitching for Licey at the end of your career, if I'm reading some of these reports correctly. Tell us what that experience it did for you, what that league still means to you today, and just any strongest memories about pitching in your home country.
Well, it's probably the most important step for a young player developing. Why? Because it's short. You have to make it happen quick. You stop probably. That's when you really become a man. You stop being a teenager and you have to go into this environment for men. And the biggest and most important thing that happens to a player is that you will not get overwhelmed over failure or success, over loud environments. Because the Winter League is like
The
being at
loudest.
Fenway in
The
a World
loudest.
Series game
Every day.
and in a 3-2 count with the bases loaded. It's just like that. The Winter League is short. The people are passionate. They're on you. You can feel the heat of the people. You have the dancers on top of the dugout. You have the music going, and you
Lot of
have to
rum.
still locate your pitch. Those 2 inches off,
Yeah.
those 2 inches up in the plate or down, execute the breaking ball or flip that changeup in that environment. And they let you know. And you have the honks right on top of you as you're developing the pitch. There's it's like a jungle, a fun jungle full of people dancing while you're doing your thing. It's like I would say a piano player and not being able to listen to the rhythm of the music. That's how you kind of play in the Winter League, and that's one big step for a young player developing.
Well, you look at Junior Caminero right now playing
Mhm.
for Tampa. This
I
is
saw him.
nothing. This is nothing playing for the Rays compared to what he was doing last winter with the stakes and the fans and for Escogido, right? Like once you can do it under that atmosphere and that environment, I mean, it
You're ready
must
for any
make
other.
right. It must make the big leagues feel easier in a way.
Well, you just get so comfortable when you see the rules here, when you know you're
Yeah.
protected, when you know you're not going to have anybody invading your space. But over there, right on top of the dugout, you're going to hear about every member of your family. You're going to hear about how you look. They're going to tell you different things to try to distract you. It's like the most hostile but fun place to play
Yeah.
in I would say in Latin America. I know I'm not disrespecting Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Mexico, or anywhere, but you will never feel like you feel if you play in the Dominican, especially during the postseason. It's like people get into it, and it's broadcasters, it's the media members, it's the city, it's. I mean, imagine when you have Licey and Escogido from the city, the middle of the city. You know what the bragging rights are? No people from the outside is coming in between us. Now it's
Yeah.
bragging rights for the city. Who owns the city? And that's what makes it really interesting. And I was fortunate to play for Licey the entire time and be in the middle of the heat with the other teams. But my debut was in Santiago, Las Águilas.
Oh,
Las Águilas, it can be hostile. I remember the things that they called me when I was like starting to warm up because my brother was like an Águilas killer, and I happened to come and do my debut in Santiago, and I'm facing Stanley Javier, I'm facing Moises Alou, Manny Ramirez, Polonia, and all those guys, and here is Ramon's little brother, smaller and skinnier than Ramon, trying to make my debut in Santiago. So imagine the things that they said to me.
Oh my
But I'm
gosh.
glad I got away with it. And
Hey, it built
that,
you
that,
up. It built you
yeah,
up.
you can-
it boosted me
and
up.
there you go.
if you can pitch
Pedro,
in front of the Aguiluchos, you can pitch in front of anybody.
oh my gosh. Oh
Oh,
my
but when
gosh.
you have Licey and Águilas together too, that's
Oh.
becoming also just like Escogido and Licey.
Yeah, it is spicy. Well, that's why we care about it so much, and we are fortunate to be able to watch it now. It is a big part of our offseason experience. Pedro Martinez, thank you so much for the time. This was a real treat. You can watch Pedro on TBS, MLB on TBS, dispensing knowledge that only he can. We appreciate the time. This was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again sometime. Thank you so much, Pedro.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always fun. See, I got excited with the Winter League over the guys running for Cy Young. That's me. I love baseball. I'm a fan too. I'm a big fan.
Pedro loves ball. Not a secret. Thank you, man.